Guys, the DOS is back, and this time round we are talking about how to win when you get to the Chevening interview stage. Last time we discussed how to submit powerful essays, and I showed you how to write very good essays. And I believe those essays have brought you here, where you are now expecting to take an interview. And that means you are a winner already, because the interview is a place where they just want to confirm that you are the applicant. Let's get started. Now, this is not your typical job interview. This interview is not that which is going to be intimidating, expecting you to show a strategy by which you are going to place the company in the top of the whichever stock exchange it is in. No, this is a time for you to show your authentic personality. The interviewers are very warm. They are more interested in your authentic personality. In fact, one of the most important things is this. Those people just want to confirm that the person they saw in the application stage is actually the one that they have met at the interview. When you submitted your essays, your personal statements, your all those things, there is something that was outstanding about you that they want to see. That outstanding thing already made you to be shortlisted among more than 100,000 people who applied this year. That means you are already outstanding at the application, such that if they just confirm that you are the one in the application, then you are all done. Because what you really need to show here is that you are the authentic person who is being talked about in your application documents. If you showed yourself to be a great leader, they want to see that leadership in you. If you showed yourself to be this confident person who greets people wherever you meet them, then they want to see that here. If you are this person who is genuinely interested in people, and you said that this is one of the greatest networking skill that you have, then they want to see it. Because if you are not going to show that you are genuinely interested in them as people, then there's something going to be wrong. So here is your turn to show that you are the one who did the application, and it is you who is being talked about in the application that you presented. The other thing is that they want to know more about you. There are certain things that you may not have said in the application, or there are things they want to understand. They want to follow up some of the things you said in the application that they need to know more about. So be prepared to expound on things that you talked about in the interview. And today I want to show you how to prepare and what to prepare for. So what are the top preparation tips? Number one, you need to check. You need to remember all the scholarship themes. These are the themes that were in the essays. They talked about leadership and influence. They talked about networking skills. They talked about career plan. They talked about study in the UK. They talked about these things, and they were looking at them in relation to how you are going to fit in the UK culture, how you are going to fit into the alumni program, how you are going to fit into the country that you are going to work in, that is your home country after the masters. Now you need to remember all this. You need to read your essays. Number two, you need to learn about the scholarship now. Because now you remember the job interview, they ask you about the company, why you think you are a right fit. Now these people will also try to ask you why you think that the Chevening community is the best for you to join as a scholar. So this is going to be very important. You need to learn about the scholarship and the alumni programs that they are running. Number three is how to rehearse your impression. Remember, first impression lasts forever. So you are going to make the first impression. These people are very diplomatic, because you are going to go to the embassy, the UK embassy in your country to do this interview. You are going to meet diplomats, people who have learned international relations. They are not people who are there to intimidate you. Remember, to be a diplomat is to represent your country properly. to show that you are the best of your country in terms of culture, in terms of values. So these people are not going to be there to intimidate you and make you feel bad, but you still need to come and show and make the best first impression. On the themes, all you need to prepare is to rehearse or to read the essays that you wrote. Reflect upon them and ensure that you pick out outstanding matters in them. For instance, on the leadership, you need to pick the most outstanding leadership quality or trait or skill and how it helped you to influence and impact people. This is going to be very important because now it is your turn to show them that the stories you told at the application stage are the same stories that you're going to tell, but now in a more elaborate, clear manner, such that they can ask follow-up questions. But you need to pick some punchlines from this leadership essay that would make these people know that this is genuinely you, and it is even coming out stronger now that you are before them and it is you representing yourself and not just your documents. The networking one is very interesting because they will watch the things you are doing. They will see how you are talking. If you say you are a great communicator, they want to see that here. So if you don't come out as someone who is talking clearly and communicating well, having a proper dialogue as you talked about in your application, then it may show here and they may pick out something that may make them think that you didn't do the application by yourself. On the career plan, remember what we said when we were discussing these essays. Just look for the video about chevening essays. Write it, chevening essays like a pro. You'll find it in the description below, and you need to look at it again to see how you need to approach these matters. You already did it in your essays, but you need to learn how to approach this matter properly. You need to talk about your chosen course, how the college you have picked and how they align with your unfolding career trajectory. Remember what we said when we were discussing the chevening essays is that your career plan needs to show a clear progression from what you are currently doing to what you are going to do and what you will do after graduation. So you need to have that clarity, and this is going to be a very important point where they are going to ask you more questions on career transition. Maybe you are an engineer and you want to get into environmental studies. Why? Maybe it is because you worked in a company that deals with sustainability. Now you think that this is the time for you to advance that so that you can be a more valuable professional in that field. So you need to explain anything that caused you to make this career transition that you expect to achieve. The other thing is studying the UK. Now here, it's going to be more interesting because the way things work here is that they are expecting you to talk about UK's culture, what you like about the UK people, what you like about UK as an education destination for international students. What do you think is so striking about the particular college that you picked? You may have already talked about these things in the interview, but now it is a chance to tell it to people who know UK so well. So you need to prepare properly so that you don't just talk about things that are not well illustrated with examples. And now these are people who are going to assess your genuineness and your preparedness. So you need to pick out certain things that would be so striking to someone who is also a Briton or someone from the UK themselves. So prepare properly on this matter because you are going to meet people who know the UK very well. On the scholarship and the alumni programs, you need to look for notable alumni activities that interest you, and you need to know why. First, there are programs that they talk about in the website. Go to the website. They talk about volunteer programs. There's normally a Chevening scholarship report. I think it's an annual report that they always present. I read the 2022 one. It was so detailed about the number of alumni that are currently volunteering, the kind of things they are doing, how many people have gotten into different careers, how they have been impactful. They talk about the alumni that went ahead and became heads of states. So these are things that are already happening in the group. So you need to learn about them and show genuine interest in them, because you cannot join this group if they don't see that genuine interest in the group, in you. So you need to know that these people are so interested in recruiting people who are going to further the programs that they have already started and bring new energy, new skills, new ideas, and new values, or things that are going to be so outstanding about you as a member of this society or a member of this community. Then there are things that are the unique values that you have seen in the alumni you have met. You can mention them by name. Maybe you talk to one of your friends who won the scholarship, and there are certain things that you saw in him, some transitions, some changes. For instance, these are people who are a bit shy and not sure about where they were going, and then all of a sudden they came and joined this alumni group, and they are now doing so well. They have even started they are even running some startup which is already thriving in their first year after graduation. You see, I know some of my friends who have done this. So it is something that you really want to make them know, that you know some of the people that recently got out of the Chevening scholarship, and they are making it big because the Chevening program prepared them for the world outside the university. Okay. The other thing are the special features of the scholarship. For instance, their focus on leadership, their focus on values, on networking, their focus on integrating the UK culture and the people and the Commonwealth society. All these things are very special. And the fact that you are going to work to study in the UK, you need to establish that, to show that this particular study is going to introduce you to the Commonwealth group of countries that opens opportunities to you. So these are things that could be very special to the scholarship. You need to reflect upon them and know exactly what is going to strike these people, that you're going to say, that would make them feel that you genuinely know that this scholarship is going to be a life-changing opportunity for you. And they will be interested in offering you the scholarship just for that. The other thing is how you plan to tap into these opportunities that the scholarship will offer you. You know, you already know that there's this alumni program, there are these mentorship opportunities, there are these notable alumni that are already working in different organizations. You need to know some of them by name. Then you need to know how you are going to integrate and to build this kind of network so that you can also be a notable alumni. On the last preparation tip, we are talking about grooming. You need to rehearse the first impression, and the first things they are going to see about you is the grooming, how you have dressed up. You need to be modest and professional in your dressing. Something official, something formal. If you are a man and you have some nice suit, prepare to wear this suit. Let it not be funny suits that are only used in some dinners. Just look for a suit that you know would be for business purposes, for professional interaction, for daytime activities. Yeah, so prepare to wear a nice suit. If you enjoy wearing some cologne, ensure that it is something that is not striking, that would cause someone to start sneezing and even avoid being part of the interview. Ensure it is something welcoming and easy. Don't overdo things. Prepare to be groomed in a way that is comfortable to you and may may be comfortable to many people that you are going to meet in an official forum. The other thing is to rehearse your speaking. You need to rehearse your speaking. Remember, these people are not in a hurry to kick you out. They are not robotic like your typical job interview. These are diplomats. These are people who are trained on how to maintain international relations, which are fragile. So they are careful on how they are going to talk to you. So they will give you time. If they ask you a question, you need to step back and try to think about it. If you need to scribble something, scribble it, be comfortable, and then respond to them in a clear, concise, and very confident way that shows that you have thought through what you are talking about. Don't just go blab around without clarity. Okay? The other thing is, remember to highlight some of the notable things in your profile. For example, there are some achievements in your leadership. Maybe you built this big software that recruited so many people into volunteer work, or you built this platform that ensured so many people could learn online, or maybe you went to clean this street and you ensured that it was clean for the rest of the year. Like, there are some things that you have done that you think may have been the most striking things about you in the scholarship application. This is the time for you to try to pick out some of them and try to drive them during the interview. Let them be mentioned nicely in the passing, such that it invites them to ask you follow-up questions, so that the story becomes about you. I remember when I did the Mandela Road interview, the first question they asked me, which is going to be the first question they will be asking you when you get to the Chevening interview, is, tell us about yourself. I told them about myself. By the time I was done telling them about myself, they basically didn't have any more questions. They were just marveling. Some of them were weeping because there are certain things I was mentioning in my story that were really disturbing to them. Some of them even wept, and some of them laughed when I cracked jokes. By the time I was done, it felt like this interview was mine to win. I left that place feeling like this one is done. There is nothing to talk about here that is like to any fear that I'm going to lose this interview. And I left that place believing that I had won. So this is what you need to do. You need to pick out some highlights from your profile that will make these people want to know more, so that your answers guide the next questions, and it becomes yours to your space. They will not come up with irrelevant things that you don't know about. So this is something you need to prepare really well. Now, the sample questions that they may ask you, which I have talked about, the first one is, tell us about yourself. This is about your education, your career, your leadership journey, your networking, and how it has been built using specific skills. What are the things that drive you? What motivates you? Why do you want to pursue certain things? What causes matter to you the most? There are so many things. Now, this point, I see people really mess up here, because the reason why people don't answer this question well is because they focus on hard things. They focus on their grades. These are numbers associated with you, but there are certain things that are not really numbers. The things you have imagined, the things that you are curious about, the things that motivate you, the things that cause you to tick. There are certain things that are so unique to you that when you talk about them and then you refer to specific areas of your essays that reinforce them, then you are going to win here. This is something that you need to really get clearly. How to talk about your education in a manner that reinforces the profile you presented in your essays. How you want to talk about your career and your leadership and your networking, that is going to reinforce the way you had presented yourself. And it is going to make it even stand out the more. The more that particular value, skill, quality, or aspect of curiosity is going to stand out, the more they are going to want to hear more from you, and the better chances you have for winning at this interview. Then there are certain things. This one is going to be more about your leadership, your networking skills, your personal traits, your personality. But there are also things that are going to be asked about other essays. For instance, the study in the UK. Why do you want to pursue this course? You know, this is more of a career plan essay. What is your career plan? Why do you want to study this course? How is it going to help your future career aspirations? How are you going to use the skills? What skills do you expect to gain, and how are they going to help you to win in your career profession, in your profession? So you need to know. Remember, I told you that they are going to ask the same themes that you wrote in the essays, but they are going to ask them cleverly. So yours is to prepare with those things, but you now need to have your common sense. You need to start thinking about them in a way that when a question is asked, you need to categorize it in one of those 4 essays. If they ask you about yourself, then you need to talk about your education, your career, your leadership. But some of the things they are going to be interested in is the leadership, the networking skills, the personal skills, the personal traits that come out in you, the resilience, the curiosity, the focus, the interest in people, the genuineness, all these things, the authenticity. These are the things that they are going to look for. But when they now ask you why you have chosen to pursue a particular master's course, then remember they are talking about your career plan, because this is part of your plan. It is part of your career plan. So you need to discuss it in that manner. So particularly the course that you have picked, the why will look like certain professors are interesting to you, or certain skills that you expect, skills gap that you expect to fill, certain ideas that you expect to engage with, certain people you think are going to be useful in your career. So this course is going to be a package of what you would have presented in your career plan and why you chose that particular course, or you are studying in the UK. But the most important thing here that you need to prepare for is to see how this course fits your overall career trajectory and how it is going to aid the plan that you have set out. The other thing, another question that is really common is what you may bring to the Chevening community. And I've talked about this. I've told you to read about the community and see how you can integrate into it. You see how you are going to stand out, how you are going to bring, what you are going to bring to this society in terms of networking skills, in terms of leadership skills, in terms of capacity to mobilize people, how to bring people together to a common goal. And this is going to take the form of, this is what I see these people do, and I think that this is what I can deliver when such a thing is happening. If these people organize annual events, then you can say that you are very good at communications, and you can be at the forefront in mobilizing people so that they can attend this event and improve it. Sometimes you need to establish whether there are certain problems the alumni are facing. You can ask one of your friends who is an alumni, and you see how they are talking about it, whether there is an attendance, that there is good attendance of these programs. You need to talk about it. And then there is also this thing of new ideas that you may bring into this society or this community. You need to think about them and bring them forward. The other thing is, maybe they will want you to describe a situation where you solved a very difficult problem. Maybe you have already talked about this problem, but if they ask you such a question, remember they are talking about the star. I've talked about the star when talking about the Chevening essays. You look for the video just in the comment, in the in the description. You will see that video, and you will the first part of this video is just about the STAR. The STAR approach is going to be very important in organizing your answer to such a question. I don't want to talk more about that because you can watch that video and see how to model your answer properly when this question comes, because it is going to come. It can ask you about a situation where you solved a difficult problem. They will ask you a situation where you networked with one of the most important networks you have had in your profession. Such kind of things. They are going to ask you about the leadership and networking skills in a very funny way, in a way that will make you think about a story that you could not tell in the application because you only had a paragraph to discuss almost all that. So this is your chance. The other thing that many people have been asked, and they are fond of asking, is how the progress of your admission is. Some people, by the time of the interview, have already received unconditional offers. Others have received conditional offers, with the only condition is whether you can prove that you have the funding for that particular program. And that is more of, if you present, that is like if you present the scholarship offer, then that offer becomes unconditional because the condition was on finances and you have presented the source of finances. There are people who have language tests, these standardized tests on English as a second language. They may want you to have that English proficiency test. So if they ask you for this English proficiency test, then you need to prepare with it. The other thing that you need to talk about is how far each of your admission applications are. If you have applied, you tell them. If you have not applied, you tell them. For each of the 3 universities that you talked about during your application stage. To conclude this video, I would like to remind you of some of the important things that will be very useful in the interview. One of them is authenticity. Authenticity wins all the time, because if one of the biggest things that mess people around is that they are here and they think that these people really know English, and they come from a village school where English was not spoken according to the people who originally speak English. Now they want to modify their English, their pronunciation, to show that they are this kind of people. Hey, my friend, you are going to lose big, because when you are struggling to pronounce things in a way that you have never pronounced them, then your mind will be shut from the most important ideas. So you need to go there genuinely. Don't start smiling in a way that you have never smiled before. Just be authentic and genuine. Be comfortable, be calm, and ensure that you are speaking to these people in a manner that that inspires confidence, that you are not a fraud. If they can smell fraud in you, my guy, they are going to kick you out. They are going to kick you out. If the person that they see in the application is stronger than the person they are seeing at the interview, they may put you on probation. And probation means they are putting you on hold until somebody rejects the offer. Then they put you, they bring you to the list. That waiting list is not where you want to be. Come out authentically and express the genuineness that comes naturally. Show them that the person who did the application is you, and the essays represent you in totality. The other thing is, I don't know how to emphasize this. Do not shoot yourself on the foot. Do not say things that contradict the things you said in the application. That contradiction is unforgivable. If there's something you said in the application, they try to follow up, then you deny some things that you already said in the application. My guy, you are going to fail in this interview. So prepare to ensure that you do not shoot yourself on the foot. Do not shoot yourself on the foot. Ensure that when you are answering these questions, you are talking the things that reinforce what you have already said in your application. Do not contradict yourself. The other thing is, when you finish with the interview, they will ask you now they give you opportunity to ask them questions. My guy, ask very interesting questions. Asking interesting questions. For instance, this is a big group. Some people end up being presidents and they run down countries. They end up being these presidents who are known for big corrupt deals that run the country into problems, economic depression. They made choices when they were leading certain organizations that sank those organizations into an abyss that those organizations have never recovered from. Or they were involved in certain civil wars that make the international community really frown at them. These are things that are very interesting, but you need to be tactful about it. Maybe you can ask them about if they have made certain choices of scholars. They have recruited some scholars, but these scholars ended up being disappointing figures. What kind of values they see in alumni that are maybe disappointing? Or some of the most important things that they see in almost every scholar. There are things that are very interesting. Personality traits. Can you ask them about key personality traits among the scholars that they see that are so interesting? Some of the biggest things that they expect from a scholar, things that would be interesting for them to know. Even for them, if any of them have been a Chevening scholar, ask them about things that are very personal sometimes, but are not exceedingly personal, like whether they are married, how many children they have. Ask relevant and interesting questions. And when you are done, that will be a boss move when you win.